I grew up Baptist. My mom took me to church. She would always try to find a church that she wanted to attend, and when she located a good, place that she felt home with, we'd go. And I remember this one in particular, and it's actually close by, but it's a different church now, that me and my little brother, Justin, went to. And she was involved. We were involved in youth choir, but I never felt very comfortable. Came back home after a couple years at college and stayed with my parents and didn't know what to do after I didn't get anything to college, so I just went to work and stayed at home, and kind of life turned for the worst. I've always been this nice girl and started hanging out with people that were not the best. My parents didn't like them, but I was having fun. I didn't think that, my decisions were hurting anybody else. And of course they did. I found out about that later. Got involved with a guy that he was just so off what my radar that I used to do. It was unreal. I was so close to it that I didn't really see that I had changed as a person until a little bit later. Got pregnant with Jordan. Was very, very excited. Of course, parents weren't. But very, very excited about, I think I was 25 when I was pregnant with him. And that was in '06, had him in '07. Of course, now he's just turned 4. And about 3 months after he was born, I was done with it. I think I'd been sober, of course, for a little over a year, and decided that this was not how I was going to raise my son. I actually met Quentin through friends at school from Gwinnett Tech that I actually didn't know at the time, but went to the same high schools as me, Berkmar. So that was neat, and of course I trusted that they knew him, so I wouldn't be seeing a guy or meeting a guy that wasn't good. And try to scare him off by saying, hey, I have a kid, and that didn't do anything. He proposed October 2009. I gave Jordan the option of calling Quentin Daddy, and didn't pressure him because I talked to the doctors at work and didn't want to do that, but he didn't know of a father figure. He had great uncles and wonderful grandfathers in his life, but he took a hold of that really fast, which was wonderful. We moved into our house over in Winder, and it's funny when I tell people where I go to church that know that I live in Winder, they're like, that's a long drive to go. I said, no, not really. I'm used to driving, first of all, and I come to listen to Stephen, speak. It's my Sunday ritual before I have to do work again. It was March of '09 when he actually started the church. Yeah. And went there, and like I said, the first one, I loved it. I mean, at first I was still, okay, this is new to me, but and of course I was very proud. I remember the first Sunday that Heather couldn't come and I went by myself. I was like, yay, I'm a big adult person and I went to church by myself. I didn't have to have a friend to kind of make sure it was sitting by me and everything. First it was Stephen. I understand everything he says. And I love his stories, and I think the football stories happen to be the funniest I don't think I've ever heard pastor or preacher start talking about football while they're in God's house, I guess, if you can say that. But then there was Carrie. I got to know Carrie, and I connect with Carrie very well. I talk to her about other things with Jordan, and I feel comfortable around Carrie because she's great with Jordan. Whatever I can do to be around Carrie and Rebecca, and I guess just building those relationships, I don't want to leave. I mean, I would like to know what's going to happen in the future with us. I mean, so far everything's been wonderful. I mean, it can only get better to me. I think it's very personal to bring someone into a church life with you, because it's like, okay, well, what if they don't like Stephen or what he says, things like that. And I know that the Lord's still working with me on that. Nothing that I have to hide with the people I go to church with, but it's just like, well, if they don't like that part of me, maybe they might not still like the rest of me, because that's me, and when I heard Stephen say, I used to say words that I don't say now, and I need to change that. I was like, gosh, I was like, all the stuff I need to change. I knew it's for the better, and I'm working on it, and there are changes, they're slow changes, but, and even though I'm not where everybody else is, it's still nice to feel loved and accepted.